Nate and Cassie's wedding in Euphoria is already more controversial than Lexi's play ever was. And if you don't remember, Lexi's play was all about Lexi's observations and conversations with every single main character within this show. We see her talk about their other lives, like mentioning Cassie's odd obsession with her own best friends, about how she'd pursue people behind their back, obviously, like when she would pursue Nate. And then we would even see Nate's insecurities with being a football star and having men around him. Like he has these moments where he balls his fist, he has to walk out as the big climax happens, and Cassie is just very shallow throughout the play, and nothing is really going on for her besides physically, which is something that they touched on early on in the seasons, how she was basically viewed in a way that you shouldn't view her. But she was always obsessed with who Maddie was, and simultaneously throughout this whole play thing going on, you will see how much Maddie wanted to fix stuff with Cassie even after everything that happened and after being with Nate and how much it hurt her. But Cassie never really cared about none of that stuff. She even says like during the play that she had no idea that Lexi was this intellectual and useful. She even tells her how she always wanted to be the star and that Lexi never takes any risk and that she never lived in life. And you're seeing Lexi just bring out their past and even the lies that they would keep from each other. But it also shows you how none of these characters knew how to navigate through life at that time. And now we got the wedding going on where we get to see these people actually come together and have actual conversation, and they still don't know where they're at genuinely in life and how to navigate through it. We got Cassie's mom walking her down the aisle, which is simply a parallel to her own broken marriage, because if you don't remember, their dad just left them all alone, which she kind of said in the episode. And they would always focus on Cassie and worry about her being huge in life, but they would never really focus on Lexi for some reason. Like I mentioned previously, Cassie even makes fun of Lexi for not being praised enough and having nothing going for herself, yet Lexi is more accomplished than Cassie will ever be. And that's not to say that Cassie hasn't gone through anything, because she has, with the way she was viewed growing up and all the personal losses that she had, whether it was losing the baby or the whole McKay situation. But Cassie could have simply changed her story, and she chose to just be the villain, which she called herself during that play. In the middle of all that, we got Jules and Cal reuniting after the situation between them, and I'm surprised that all of this just happened so calmly. It's also very telling how a person like Cal can just casually roam the streets, which is what truthfully happens in life for some weird reason. There's no reason that he's not stuck behind bars, whether he was doing things consensual or not. He's a disgusting person and deserves nothing, but shout out to Eric Dane for just going through this with his ALS and just having fun with this role. I also thought that Nate was going to catch them speaking, and that would have brought out like a darker side of him, but all throughout the season, everything's been kind of like a joke. And that's a big issue with these time jumps, because we don't necessarily get the full development. Like Nate Jacobs is completely different, and I'm personally never going to adjust to like how that quickly just changed with him, and that doesn't just happen in real life. Also, it's just funny how Rue is here, yet she's the one that told the truth to everyone about Nate and Cassie, so I was just surprised as Jules was when she was saying that to Rue. I also thought Cassie's secrets were definitely going to be brought up in this episode, but Nate's debt issue is way bigger than we all thought, and he's kind of like the domino effect of whatever is going to happen in the remainder of the season, because now Cassie is stuck needing to rely on Maddie, and Maddie can do her whole revenge tour with ease because she's going to profit and not necessarily feel bad about it. Even though she doesn't truly care for Cassie, she still has like an ounce of care for her. But we see how the ego and power of Nate and Cassie just caused all of this to happen, and I don't think they actually care if anyone gets hurt along the way. Nate showed that in this episode and has shown that all throughout his character arc, and Cassie has proved it even during the play when she was basically justifying her wanting to be with Nate as a risk taker that's in love. Like Cassie is self-centered and everything around her doesn't really matter as long as she benefits from it, and you see that same thing happening when Nate is just getting destroyed and she's sobbing and talking about how her night was ruined and not caring about anything else going on. But Maddie warned her about all of this. She knew this would happen. That's why she kept looking like that during the wedding. She wasn't necessarily sad, in my opinion. She just saw how Cassie just glued herself to a life with a monster after she told her in season 2 that this would be the beginning of the end. And now everything that just happened is how Cassie ends up at the Silver Slipper working under Alamo and Maddie, because of course she's like her referral, and the domino effect is going to continue. So people are in places they don't need to be in, money is being owed left and right, issues are getting worse between Alamo and Lori, so everyone in between is in harm's way. And the more this continues, the worse that everything will be in the end. But I can't wait to see episode 4 though. This thing is like a movie with crazy cliffhangers. Hit the sub, let me know what you felt about this, let me know what theories you have for the rest of the season, and I will be back next week.